Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Nada Huranieh? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Nada Huranieh was born in the early 1980s and lived in Syria. In 1999, she married a physician named Basil Altantawi. They moved to the state of Michigan and had 3 children, a son named Muhammad, a daughter named Aya, and another daughter named Sidra. Basil ran his own urgent care clinic in Canton, Michigan. This is 30 miles west of Detroit. The family eventually purchased a 10,700 square foot mansion for $810,000. It sat on 1.7 acres on Howard Road in Farmington Hills, 20 miles north of Canton. Basil was earning good money at the time. During his best year, he made over $350,000. Despite having financial success, there was conflict in the family. In February 2016, Basil was accused of throwing Nada down a flight of stairs. He was arrested, pleaded no contest to spousal abuse, and received probation. He was not allowed to return to the mansion, could not have contact with his wife, and only supervised visitation of his children was permitted. In March of 2016, Nada filed for divorce. She also moved her life in a new direction in other ways. She took a job as a trainer at the Franklin Athletic Club, where she taught classes on weight loss, balance, and strength. Nada stopped covering her hair and found a boyfriend. Allegedly, Basil was not too happy about this, believing it ran counter to his cultural and religious beliefs. He expressed concerns that his wife's behavior was causing his children to become Americanized. Basil may have adhered to his cultural beliefs strictly, but he did not have the same level of commitment to the law. In May 2016, he was charged with 9 counts of Medicaid fraud, 12 counts of healthcare fraud, and 1 count of having a continuing criminal enterprise. He had billed for medical services that were never provided. Basil pleaded guilty to 2 counts of Medicare fraud and 2 counts of healthcare fraud. He was ordered to pay $278,000, but did not serve any jail time except for 1 day he spent in jail after being arrested. In February 2017, Basil's medical license was suspended due to his criminal conviction, lack of good moral character, unethical business practices, negligence, and incompetence. During the time that he was separated from his wife, Basil allegedly continued to have contact with his son Muhammad. He allegedly had his son sneak out of the mansion to see him in violation of the court order. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On Monday, August 21, 2017, during the morning, 3 other people were known to be in the mansion in addition to Nada: her 16-year-old son Muhammad, her 14-year-old daughter Aya, and her 9-year-old daughter Sidra. At about 6:30 a.m., Aya called 911 and reported that her mother had fallen out of a window. She also alerted her brother Muhammad, who started performing CPR while on the line with the emergency operator. Aya went to the driveway to make sure the police found the mansion. Here is what the police found during the course of their investigation. Nada's body was face up on a concrete patio located on the side of the house below the guest room window. It appeared as though she had traveled out of this window. The patio was just a few feet above the bottom of the basement. The distance between the guest bedroom window and the patio was 29 feet. This is farther than the typical design, where the patio would be on the first floor. Out of all the windows someone could have traveled through, this one was particularly hazardous. Next to Nada's body, there was a wet towel. Later, an autopsy indicated that her cause of death was asphyxiation. Nada also had blunt force injuries to her head, which should have bled profusely if they were caused by the impact on the patio. This made it seem like Nada was already dead when she traveled out of the window. Perhaps somebody had smothered her with a towel and threw her out of the window with the hope that it would look like she died in the fall. Inside the guest bedroom, the screen had been removed from the bedroom window. There was a stepladder with 3 steps and a bucket of water on the floor in front of the window. On the top of the stepladder, there was a bottle of Tilex. This is a chemical used to remove stains caused by mold and mildew. There were streaks on the guest bedroom window as if it had been cleaned with this chemical. The police found this to be curious. Tilex is sometimes used to clean glass in shower doors, but usually it is not used to clean window glass. The police spoke to Aya. She explained how her mother would typically wake her up at around 6 a.m. to get ready for school, but on that day, her mother never came to her room. Concerned, Aya went searching for her mother, but could not find her. She realized that the guest bedroom window was open. When she looked out of that window, she saw her mother's body on the patio. Aya went to her brother's room and informed him about what was going on. Her younger sister was still asleep at this time. Initially, the police thought that maybe Basil had entered the house and murdered his wife, but as it turns out, he was still on probation. He was wearing a GPS tracking device which placed him far from the scene of Nada's death. Basil was ruled out as a potential suspect. He was allowed to come to the mansion and tend to his children. Looking around the property, investigators noticed 6 surveillance cameras installed on the exterior of the house. They asked Basil and Muhammad about these cameras. Both of them said the cameras were on the house when it was purchased, and they had never been used. On the next day, August 22, the police spoke to the interior decorator for the house, who told them that the security cameras had been used. Investigators returned to the mansion and retrieved the digital video recorder. They focused their attention on a camera that was pointing down toward the patio on the side of the house. Toward the left side of the shot, they could see shadows on the ground, which were cast by a light from the guest bedroom. This was right before Nada fell from the window, about a half hour before the 911 call was placed. Based on the appearance of the shadows, it looked like somebody had thrown Nada out of the window. Either that, or someone was really good at making shadow puppets. A few seconds later, the shadow of the other person left the guest bedroom and the light was turned off. The police did not know who the mysterious figure was, but they realized it must have been one of the children. Investigators interviewed Muhammad in the mansion. They suggested that he was in the bedroom when his mother traveled out of the window. Initially, he denied being in the bedroom, but eventually he told the police a different story. He said that he held the stepladder for his mother as she cleaned the window, but he wasn't paying attention and she fell. He attempted to grab her foot, but he could not save her. At this point during the interview, Basil entered the house and prevented his son from making any more statements. The police thought that they had a strong case against Muhammad because he had placed himself in the room at the time his mother traveled out of the window. However, the officers had made a mistake during the interview. They had ordered Muhammad to come downstairs and never read him his Miranda rights. This led to a court ruling Muhammad's statement to be inadmissible. Even without this statement, the state believed they had enough to obtain a conviction. Muhammad was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. His charge was later supersized to first-degree premeditated murder. In March 2022, after a trial where his sister Aya testified against him, Muhammad was convicted of first-degree premeditated murder. After the guilt phase of his trial, he fired his lawyers and represented himself during the penalty phase. He spent about 2 hours raising objections to words, phrases, and paragraphs contained in the pre-sentencing investigation. He claimed that his Syrian culture and religious beliefs were depicted in a way that showed prejudice. Also, he didn't like the way he was described by the authorities. Ultimately, Muhammad was sentenced to 35 to 60 years in prison. He could be released as early as 2052 at the age of 51, or as late as 2077 when he is 76 years old. Now moving to my analysis. Muhammad al-Tantawi maintains his innocence. He told the judge that he did not kill his mother. He had the utmost faith his conviction would be overturned, and the police had millions of other suspects they allowed to go unnoticed. The state, of course, disagrees. They believe that Muhammad is a dangerous killer. This brings me to the question, was Muhammad guilty of murder? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea he was guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. At the time of her death, Nada and her husband Basil were going through a contentious and expensive divorce. Basel complained to the court that he could no longer afford his wife's lavish lifestyle. During the divorce proceedings, both of them allegedly withdrew a lot of money from their joint bank account. Basel over $800,000 and Nada almost $630,000. Muhammad was close to his father and distant from his mother. Allegedly, his father had him taking photographs of items his mother had purchased. In his cell phone contacts, Muhammad referred to his mother by the name Dog. Muhammad frequently snuck away to meet his father after his father was ordered to have supervised visitation only. 3 weeks before Nada died, Muhammad sent his father a photograph of the open guest bedroom window, the same window that Nada traveled through. Basel was unhappy with his wife's behavior, which he believed violated his cultural and religious beliefs. Perhaps Basel communicated his displeasure with Nada to his son Muhammad. According to Aya, Muhammad was angry about Nada working outside the home, not covering her hair, wearing clothing that was clingy, and her intent to divorce. Nada and Basel were scheduled to give depositions 2 days after Nada died. She told Muhammad that her deposition could involve her making statements about financial crimes allegedly committed by Basel. Maybe Muhammad killed his mother to protect his father. The circumstances surrounding Nada's death were suspicious. The evidence supported the theory that she was already dead when she traveled out of the window. Although Nada was known to clean early in the morning, Tilex was an unusual choice of chemical to clean that window. The shadows cast on the ground by the light in the guest bedroom made it clear someone was in the bedroom with Nada. This person appeared to have short hair and was strong enough to throw Nada out of the window. Muhammad was the only person known to be in the house who fit this description. Furthermore, even though the statement was ruled inadmissible, he admitted to being in the bedroom. Prior to the time Muhammad claimed that he woke up, there were multiple calls between him and his father. Not long after calling 911, Aya handed the phone to her brother Muhammad so the operator could talk him through performing CPR. The surveillance camera directed toward the patio captured Muhammad holding the phone with one hand and performing CPR with the other. Eventually, he was simply counting and not performing CPR at all. Moving to the exculpatory factors, in theory, someone else could have been in the guest bedroom with Nada. Muhammad placed himself in the bedroom, but the police may have pressured him to make that statement. Both Aya and Muhammad said that Nada typically cleaned the house starting at 4:30 or 5 a.m. before helping them get to school. Even though it may be out of the ordinary, Nada could have used Tilex to clean the window. Maybe she didn't realize it would have left streaks or didn't care. That's pretty much it for the exculpatory factors. When considering all the evidence in this case, do I think that Muhammad was guilty of murder? Yes, he was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Muhammad developed a distorted view of the cultural and religious beliefs he was exposed to by his father. He viewed the beliefs through a lens contaminated by grandiosity and a false belief of being special. This led to him feeling superior to his mother and hating her. Muhammad killed his mother to help his father and to conquer the perceived evil of her behavior. The real mystery in this case is this: was Basel involved in the murder? Did he encourage his son to carry out the crime? Many people believe that he was involved, but there is no way to know. I find it curious that Basel seemed sympathetic to his son. During the victim impact statement, he was admonished by the judge and told to sit down after describing Muhammad as loving, caring, and a role model who was never in trouble. Basel was a convicted felon who had no problems defrauding people. It is not difficult to imagine that, out of frustration, vexation, and desperation, he used manipulation, like false accusation, to cause a fatal defenestration situation. Those are my thoughts in the case of Nada Huranieh. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They consistently generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.